Welcome to Conversations with Cubit, and thank you for joining me tonight. This is going to be by far the coolest conversation that I've ever had on Conversations with Cubit. If you are a regular viewer, then you can already tell that I'm in a much different place than you normally see me week after week. But more on that in just a second. Let me start by telling you thank you for your support. These weekly conversations have been fantastic, and your support has been wonderful. If you are new to these weekly conversations, welcome to the family. My team and I are excited that you found your way here, and we love getting all those words of encouragement. So go ahead and send the emails, the DMs, comment during the broadcast, after the broadcast, whatever you got to do. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Let's do this, right? Turn it up. Now, be sure to go check out some of the past conversations. There was a conversation about Julius Jones this past week. This conversation is going to go hand in hand with that. Most of the conversations we've had in the last few weeks have been centered around criminal justice, and tonight will go hand in hand with that. And if you know me, you know I am extremely passionate about our youth, particularly youth who are at a greater risk of becoming involved in the criminal justice system. And recently I organized an all-day mentoring event inside one of our State Juvenile Correctional Facilities. And I want you to hear about that experience from the men that were there with me and what it was like. Some real men joined me that day. So don't keep this conversation to yourself. If you know some young men who are kind of on the wild side making poor decisions, you might learn something about what we do. So hit the share button right now. A special shout out to Richard and Amy James for giving these weekly conversations out here in Green Pastures in Spencer, Oklahoma, a home. In fact, this amazing bar that we're sitting in right now is just one of Green Pastures Studios' elaborate set designs. We're just not ordering drinks, but this is a real bar. But they film movies and stuff in here. So do whatever you need to do to learn more about what's being done out here in Spencer, Oklahoma. Now, before we dive into tonight's conversation, let me tell you the 3 simple rules I have for these weekly conversations. One is I just want to add value to people and to my community. 2, I want you to be inspired to believe in what people and communities can become when we work together. And 3, I just want you to love people, period. Love people, no strings attached. That's it. Every conversation that we have here will be about bringing you information, and resources. And I want to celebrate those people that are doing great things to impact our community on a positive level. Every conversation will be about information, inspiration, and hope. Now, let me give you a little background about tonight's conversation. Back in 2010, a guy who is a community hero named Marcus Jackson and I were heavily involved in mentoring several young men who were gang involved. We found ourselves consistently discussing ways to keep these young men from getting involved in that kind of lifestyle. And one of the things that we agreed on was most of these young boys were trying to live up to an idea of manhood truly without understanding what it means to be a man. So we came up with the idea of creating a fun, meaningful, and impactful event for boys that would be very intentional about defining real manhood. We call this event Man Up, as you can see it on our shirts. It was a huge success. And the very next year, Lieutenant T.G. Childs, everybody knows him around the city, helped us take it to the next level, and I have done this program through the Oklahoma City Police Department's FACT unit every year since then. But now 3 years ago, the director of OJA, Steve Buck, learned about our success and asked me to organize the event for young men who were currently incarcerated and in OJA custody. So I took on the challenge and I called on the help of a few good men, and we made it happen. The new director of OJA, Rachel Holt, has embraced this program, and I don't know many people who believe in what these young men can become more than her. She is a champion for all young people in this state, and supporting efforts like this is just one small example of how much she loves our young people. Tonight, I've gathered just a few of the men that were with me that day, serving as mentors inside of that juvenile correctional facility, and helped us define, or should I say, redefine, what it means to be a man, what it really means to man up. For these young men who are currently in custody, this was a fascinating day. So let's just go around the room and allow you guys to introduce yourselves and dive into what that experience was like for you. Start right here.
All right. My name is Les Thomas. I'm a retired Air Force, and and I'm an area coordinator for Youth for Christ, so I run a mentoring program in inner city Oklahoma City. Schools like Douglas, Millwood, John Marshall, we're just there to take them from lost to leader.
Lost a leader. Go, he's already getting tweets. He's already putting tweets out.
And I love that. I'm a product of being mentored, so I'm really passionate about it. And also, I'm the game day host for Oklahoma State University, the Oklahoma State University. So
now we at a bar, that could start a whole other conversation.
I'm here for the smoke. I ain't smoked in about 22 years, but I can start today. But yeah, so if you go to a football, basketball game, you'll catch me on the microphone having fun with kids. And also, I'm co-owner with Hope Culture, which is a brand that helps bring resources to the community.
Hope Culture.
Hope Culture.
This is all about hope.
Yep.
This is all about hope. I've got to mention that this guy has been in the streets. Yeah. I was going to say with me. I've been in the streets with him for many years. Many years.
Yeah, I was with you back when it was gang prevention and it wasn't fact.
It was just gang prevention, and we were going after those kind of kids, and that's it. And then over here, my leader, one of my leaders at church.
My name is Corey Holman, Sr. Let me just say that first, I'm a father of two twin teenage boys, a father of a teenage daughter. So I got 3 teenagers. So it's one of the reasons why this is so helpful to me. But what I do, I am a site director at the Northeast Boys and Girls Club that operates out of Tabernacle Baptist Church. But then also I'm the youth pastor at Northeast Missionary Baptist Church. And so kind of to answer your question, Lieutenant, what that did for me, was we supposed to go into that?
Say.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
This is one of my leaders.
Okay.
And he takes my young people, my grandkids, and take them to the back and give them massage that word in them in kind of a sneaky way. But now, straight up, you give them the word.
Try to do my best.
And then right over there, oh man, don't get me to crying. That's my boy right there.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm Jay Green, a recent graduate of the University of Oklahoma. I graduated from Oklahoma Centennial High School in 2015. I'm just here in life, trying to find my way. Business owner on a motivational clothing line called I'm Possible. And then I also, I'm part owner of Kendall's Premium Detail. So if you need a nice mobile detail, I'm definitely the guy.
Everybody needs a nice mobile detail. Everybody does.
Absolutely.
There ain't no if. It's everybody needs one.
Absolutely.
Right. He may not let you touch it since you were talking all that OU stuff. This stuff's got OSU markings all over it.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't want to detail it. We'll leave it dirty orange.
We having fun.
That's right. And then over here is a legend in Oklahoma City, Pastor Dorn. You got to know when I first was starting the community outreach work with the Oklahoma City Police Department, you were one of the foundational pieces to getting that thing off the ground, and it was not easy. It was not easy. So thank you for joining us tonight.
What a pleasure it is. Originally came tonight to learn about the technology and the video, and watching these guys right here, the energy is so strong up in here. Don't y'all trip. I saw Pastor Dorn in a bar. Don't trip. All right then.
You got to save us.
Yeah.
You got to go where they at. Go get them. Go pull them out of there. Yeah, pull them out.
So I'm here at the bar. I'm here at the bar. We ain't ordering no drinks tonight, but what a pleasure it is, and we're looking forward to working with Man Up, taking these fellas so that all young men can hear and understand what it means to be a real man.
That's good. So Corey, you are already ready to dive in. Yeah. So we went into the prison. Now you've seen this done inside and outside of prison. Tell us why you wanted to get involved in it. I mean, maybe you probably tag along. You were just curious about what I do, but tell us what made you want to go inside the prison after you seen me do it with regular kids that were not incarcerated.
Well, I didn't know much about the FACT program until the Northeast Boys and Girls Club was operating in Lieutenant Cubit's Northeast Rec Center. And so I just so happened to stumble into it. Lieutenant Cubit and Officer Reggie, they was playing a game that we would soon talk about later. And they whooped me in this game, and then all of a sudden they told me the lesson behind the game. And when they told me the lesson behind the game, and they told me that they was going to be doing it at this site, you know, at the time I think it was the Girl Scout place by the zoo, I said I had to be a part. And so then I went there, and I learned so much. I said, "Ooh, I'm going to wherever they go again, but this time I'm doing it for the selfish reasons, and I'm going to get in there and learn more for me, and then contribute to the kids." So then we went into the prison, and wow, it was an experience. It was an experience. I think I enjoyed that more the second time than I did the first time, just because we was actually dealing with some kids that was looking to find that identity in a man, right? They had nothing left but us, you know. So I just enjoyed going in there with you.
Yeah, you said you got teenagers yourself,
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
you were looking for maybe a nugget or something to pass on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You best believe after we left there, I went home and I probably talked to my kid about an hour or two. They're like, "Oh, here he go again." But the next time they're gonna learn that maybe we need to come to one of them, you know. So yes,
Right, because we don't want them going there.
Right. So if I just teach them what y'all teaching them, then they stop them from going.
Right.
But I had a wonderful time.
Right. Jay, before we go any further, you experienced it as a participant when you were in high school. Talk about, kind of give them the idea of what's happening at Man Up for a kid.
Oh man, it's been a lot since then, man.
You're so old. He's so old.
I ain't so old, but man, it's been a while, you know. So I think it was my senior year. No, it was my senior year of high school. I think it was around March. It was during spring break weekend.
Yeah, we always do that spring break.
And as a kid or a young adult, I just remember, like, man, what does this guy have me going to? Like, why does he want me to stay all night? I took one of my best friends out there with me, Lewis. We still tight to this day. And man, it was really different because that was the first time in my life that I had seen a bunch of black men pouring into kids for like no reason. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting paid. Like, you don't have to do this. And it just spoke value, and it made me want to be a better person and you know, eventually turn around and do the same thing that you were doing. And then, just the way that set me up in life, my senior year, getting ready to be done with high school, I got to figure out what's coming next. I didn't know, you know, I'm not going to say I was lost because I knew I was going to do something, but I was lost because I didn't know what, you know. And so going to Man Up, it kind of just solidified that whatever I was doing, it was going to be positive, you know, like whatever it was going to be positive and it was going to be beneficial to not only myself, but my community and my family.
Right. So for y'all to know that I don't know if y'all know this, but so Jay has come to at least the last 5 Man Ups, wherever they were, right after graduating. He's got every shirt.
Wow.
He's got every shirt. Wow. And so he's comes back as a mentor the very next year after he was a mentee, and he's been locked in ever since. And I remember probably 2 years ago, I might be wrong on the years, you correct me. 2 years ago, he set up and cut almost every kid's head during the event, and he come back the next day and was able to tell me so many different facts about those young men, and it gave us as mentors he had to go back to school, gave us some, like, we know a little bit more about you, we know a little bit more what you experienced and how to help him.
A little intel.
A little intel, the barber intel, man. That's that true serum when they start getting that.
That's got to be great though, like to you know, that is fruit of the labor of Man Up. You know, for someone that benefited as a kid to say that was so impactful, I'm going to come back and serve. Come on, man. What's better than that right there?
I can just tie me up. I'm done. There you go.
And what's crazy is, like, all through college, like, you know, I was still doing Man Up, but sometimes it feel, you know, on that spring break, you know, weekend, even when we in college. So I told a lot of my partners, like, hey, man, we're going to have to push back the vacation, you know, as long as, you know, we can leave Saturday night after Man Up, you know, we good to go. But if we got to leave before that, y'all may not see me.
So I got to tell them, so that's another thing. This is how much of a leader he is. So during one of the Man Ups, one of the things that we were dealing with was some abuse, domestic abuse and dating abuse, and how men were abusing, not just physically, but controlling and verbally and that kind of stuff. And so we did a skit. This guy got, I don't know, half of the black students at OU to play a role in this skit. So we had like 40 students come down and do a skit on dating and domestic violence. It was real. I'm telling you, when I'm thinking about getting chills, it was so lifelike and real. And then they got to ask questions of these students, and then they also got to see, you know what? In a year, I can be just like them in college.
That's leadership.
Yeah. That's leadership.
Big shout out to Mama Carter, man,
For
because
real,
she constructed everything, and she plays a tremendous part, man, in my success as well. The first time I did Man Up, I met her, but I didn't actually know who she was. And it's just crazy the way that God aligns everything, because whenever I go and enroll for college, I go up to this project threshold, I go up to this office, and it's this sweet black lady across from me. She giving me mom bobs for real. It's just so warm. The love is so warm, it's so pure, it's so genuine. And we finally put it together of where she knew me from, and it was locked and loaded after that. I'm telling you, I can call her right now and she will pick up.
That's for real.
I love that woman with all my heart. So big shout out to Mama Carter.
Crystal Carter. Yeah. So be less. This is not your first Man Up experience, and you know why I go and that kind of stuff. Take me inside the prison, man. What was you thinking when I said, be less, I need you to come in the prison. We got to leave our cell phones. We're going in the prison to talk to, some would call it, Pastor Dunn would call it, we're going in to minister to those young people. Right? You would say that. But whatever you call it, we poured into them or tried, right? What was your thinking?
Well, for me, it was right on time, because I sometimes struggle with only doing ministry or making an impact inside the walls. So for me, it was perfect. We can go outside the church walls and make an impact with nothing bounding us, nothing holding us back, no shackles on us, and just make an impact and go. I talked about Matthew 28 tells us to go. So for me, it's hold on. One thing, I can go and be a mentor because I'm a product of being mentored. I feel like it's almost impossible to maximize your life without a mentor.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. So you're asking me to go and take love, because that's the thing about love is we try to ration out love or we try to say who can or who can't get love. And here's the thing, love is one of those things that's potent and is strong enough, and everybody deserves love, right? So we could say we could love someone, but what does our action say? And so you mean to tell me I can put some action with my love and go into a prison where a lot of them are in there because they have lacked love from someone in their family? Yeah. Someone let them down with love. So you mean to tell me, they say, I grew up as a kid, my dad, my mom, my grandma, or someone did not love me, and this person that doesn't know me is coming in here to spend all day with me, loving on me?
And it was 15 guys, 15 men who were not promised a dime, weren't promised anything.
That's right.
All I said was, will you come and spend the day? It's going to be a long one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 12-hour.
Which that speaks to your impact and your influence, and I know that you're gonna be humble and you're gonna try to block it, but that speaks to your influence and the impact that you've made. Because a lot of men can't just call on 15 guys and say, can you not only rock with me from 9 to 8 in the evening, but it's an hour away, so you got to get up early and be here all day, So, that right there, that's huge to go there and be mentors. The second thing would be, you asked me to go back to I'm already emotional, but you asked me to go back to a place that I had to go to as a kid.
Yeah.
And so, you mean to tell me that I can go back with a mind and a heart to help someone that I can relate to?
I don't know what you mean as you went back to a place that you were when you were a kid. What do you mean by that?
That's a good question. So he asked, what does he mean? What do I mean by I went back to a place as a kid?
Not just mentally.
Not just mentally. So I went to Kojak as a kid. So I was one of them, and I am one of them, right? I'm a person that just, God is, he's put some great people, phenomenal people in my life to be able to help show me what a man is and to direct me. But the same seats that they were sitting in, that we were sitting in.
Same room.
The same room, the gym and everything, I sat in as a kid.
Wow.
In the shirts. In the same shoes.
In the same shirt, the same shoes, no shoestrings, all of that, But at that time it was co-ed, young ladies was there as well. But to be able to go back, so for me, it humbles me, it reminds me of where I came from. And I look at my life and it actually fuels me because I'm like, dude, you're blessed. Because a lot of people that I grew up, I talked about the neighborhood earlier off camera where I grew up. A lot of people I grew up are really no longer here. They're in jail, or they're not, life is really a challenge for them. It's tough for them. So for me to be able to go back and say, I was them, I'm a walking hope man. Like when people see me, they be like, dude, you always getting hyped. I may be a hype man, but that's not who I am. I'm a hope man. So wherever I can carry hope, and I can go back to the place that I was at when I was lacking hope, and somebody gave me hope. Now I could be that person to bring hope. Come on, man, what's better than that?
Now, I already got you with the microphone, and you talked about you already been there.
Yes, sir.
Well, can y'all just remember, now, Pastor Dorn, I'm going to have him do a little bit of this for you.
Okay.
But there's, out of those 15 men, I asked very intentionally some of them to present. And if you look on the back of the shirt, I got 9 values. We have 9 values on the back: integrity, compassion, confidence, self-control, perseverance, bravery, humility, authority, and responsibility. And so we try to shape the whole day around these 9 core values, right? And we kind of get away from it a little bit every once in a while to have these special people speak about their experience. And so Be Less is one of them. And he impromptu, the 2 years before when we went, we were in another presentation, and God stood him up, and he shared his testimony, how he ended up as a quote unquote inmate in Kojak. And he said this one thing that blew the door off. He said, "You did what they said you did, but you're not who they say you are."
Yeah.
So I took a clip from it, and I called him and I said, "I've already got the title of your talk for this year.
Yep.
You did what you said they did, but you're not who they say you are." How'd you bring that home? What was your thought?
I brought it home from, I brought up a situation that happened in my house. It was my mother and a good family member. And my mother used to always tell me that I was called to greatness. And she told me, like, since I was in her womb, she knew that God was going to use me in mighty ways. Well, my life didn't reflect that as a child. And someone that I loved dearly was at a kitchen table with me and my mother. And my mother said out loud, she said, "Boo," because that's what my mom called me. She said, "Boo, God is going to do great things in your life." And my family member laughed, and they said, "Boo?" The same guy that's sitting right here? And my mother said, "Yes, he's going to go on and do great things in his life." And this person started contending with my mom that I was not going to do great things in my life. And this was a family member that I love, that at that age I looked up to. And you can only imagine that how I felt in that chair. I'm shrinking. Like my mom is trying to get me to stand tall, but every time those words just hammer me down into my chair. And the reason this person thought that is because what I did.
You were creating a problem. You were making mistakes.
I was making mistakes.
After mistake.
After mistake.
Yeah.
I flunked the 5th grade, and it's crazy. We're in the same building right now. Green pastures. If you know, you know.
Don't let the bar fool you.
Don't let
the background fool you. Right?
There are hallways out there that I just had to walk down, and I got emotional because you was only supposed to be here for 1 year. I had to come here for 2 years, right? So because I had flunked the 5th grade, and because I got kicked out of Rogers in the 7th grade, and because I went to Kojak, this family member scoffed at my mom and argued. He argued with my mom that I wasn't going to amount to anything. and I wasn't going to do anything in my life. And that was because of what I did. Mm-hmm. So I was speaking to them from a place of, whatever you're in here for, most of you are guilty. You did that. But your identity cannot be in what you've done. Like, you did that. Admit it. Man up. That's part of manning up, taking ownership. I did that, but that's
responsibility.
Responsibility. But that's not who I am. And so those things that the reason this person looked at me and said that I was going to be a failure actually end up being a stepping stone for me to be able to project the greatness of God and the greatness that God is doing in my life. Not that I've attained greatness, but I can say that those things that I did, I'm not ashamed of. I did those things. But now I can stand before those kids and impact the next generation and say, yeah, you're going to make mistakes, or you may have made mistakes, but that's not what your identity is in. Your identity has to be in where you're headed to. And my mother, it takes me back to when you brought me down on Men Up 1, the first one. In the gym, I told them how in front of a judge, when the judge was sentencing me, my mother just interrupted the judge. She grabbed my face and she got like really close to my face. And she said, this moment will not define you, right? Remember we talked about redefining manhood. Yeah. So I told him, I said, those 2 moments in my life was a cornerstone. And the hope was that day of Men Up 3.0 was going to be a day that they would never remember, that they would never forget, and they will always remember as a moment in their life that it changed the trajectory of their life. Mm-hmm. And those moments when my mom told that person to shut up, and that I was going to, like, literally shut up, Boo was going to do great things. The same thing in front of the judge when my mom said, this moment will not define you. You will go on to do great things. I rebuke the enemy off your life. And she said, I believe in you. And at that moment, that was a moment in my life that I would never forget. And so the hope was, when we was there at Men Up, was to give them hope to say, this is a moment in your life. Life is all about choices. You're going to eat the fruit of your choices, good or bad. You know, and so I just talked to them about, you know, yeah, you did it, but that's not who you are. You know?
It was a mic drop moment, and
yeah,
it was about that time. If y'all remember, maybe right before then. I don't know. I'm getting the timing of the day mixed up, but Pastor Doran, we all want a fresh start, right? The problem is with these kids, and I'm just speaking from my experience.
Yeah.
Is everybody, when they mess up, we don't forget they messed up, right? You stole my car, I can't give you the keys this time. You wrecked my car, I can't give you the keys this time. So we keep building on their mistakes, right? And so at Man Up, what we try to do, if you recognize, it's very intentional how we start. We lined up at the door. Right. I sent y'all emails, and I said, this is your kid's name. Please know their name. Please know who they are, because when they come to that door and they tell you who they are, I want you to latch onto your dude.
Yep.
Right? And so immediately when they walk in the door and they're getting high fives and hugs and loves and all this kind of stuff, what I'm trying to do is erase, just for a moment, what they did. Right. To say, we don't care what you did.
Yeah.
We know your name. Right. We know your name.
Yeah.
Right? And the reason we know your name is because we only came here because we believe in what you can become. We don't care about what you did. You're going to pay that consequence. That consequence is going to happen.
Yeah.
We just want to ride with you through the consequence because somebody rode with us through ours. Right? And so the idea is to just give them another chance. Do you see that play out in the kids that come to your church, and what's the value in this approach?
There's a lot of value in that approach. Again, many of us and many children, again, once they are scarred and earmarked or tagged or however you want to say that, but for someone to come along and share hope with them, to talk about their purpose, their destiny, all right, then we can't change what happened in the past. All right, but as you launch, as you look forward to what's in front of you, set your destination. You've been gifted to get to your destination. And so when that child realizes the gifting in their lives to become somebody, to be somebody great, amen, they're able to then put aside the past. I can't change it, can't do nothing about it, but I can redirect my focus for the future.
Well, I like that. So we start out by making them feel really, really dumb. Talk about, anyone on y'all can talk about how we set them up to listen to us for the rest of the day. Y'all remember that game that we played? It's the cones.
Oh, yeah.
It's the cones. It's the cones. Don't give away all the secrets, but just tell how it plays out. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So it's a cone game, and the key to the game is actually knowing which cones are going to lead you to success. And so the young men, of course, they don't know. They go into it. I think it's 14 cones.
It's 15 cones.
15 cones. Okay, I'm sorry. 15 cones, and there's certain cones that you can get that's going to set you up for success. And it's always the men versus the young boys. Of course, the men all know which cones to get in order to guarantee success. But the overall lesson of it is, you know, you have to listen to those that actually know. You don't always know, and you're not always going to know.
And they just keep losing
And
losing. And we kept saying, now, you done lost 3 in a row.
Right.
You done lost this game 3 in a row against every man around here.
Not quitting. Like,
Right.
Like, okay, so we ain't gonna do this for free no more.
Right.
So the next one is for a whole bunch of push-ups.
Right.
A whole bunch of push-ups. Do you still want to do it? Yes.
And then, you know, you'll occasionally have that one kid that's like trying to be the leader of it, like, yo, like, let's do this, or, you know, we can make the push-ups 50, you know, from 30 to 50, you know, because they got
You got
that
some in
much
the back
more
like,
confidence.
no, I don't want to do 50.
I mean, but that game, I mean, it honestly, if we pay attention and we look back on all the years that we did it, those kids that stepped up in that game have always been the leaders throughout the whole entire day conference that we've had. So it helps you identify where your leaders really are, your true leaders. And then, I mean, even the quiet ones that's in the back, you know, that chime in, you know, we teach to them, you know, speak up and, you know, actually participate and get involved and, you know, contribute to your team.
There's no way, because the speed of the game, the object of the game, there's no way they're really going to get it. But one year, man, there was this quiet guy. I don't know if you was in your group or not, but this one young man said, I got it. And they said, no, go look at it. And he said, I got it. And I kept watching him. And he kept saying, I understand it. I got it. And they just kept on drowning him out. They kept on drowning him out. And pretty soon I said, hold up, everybody shut up. Come here, young man. You against me. And he beats me. And he wins. Well, you can win sometimes.
Right.
You can get lucky in life sometimes.
Right.
And we let that be known.
Right.
You can get lucky sometimes.
sometimes.
But luck is not going to be continued success, right? We want to try to set it up that you have success all the time. So run it back. Let's do it again. And he did, and he wins again. And I said, what's the keys to this? He said, you got to get this one, this one, this one, and this one. You got it. But now here's the thing. The answer was with them the whole time. The young man, the winner, the wisdom was in the group the whole time. But because he wasn't louder than them, they drowned him out. And so we pointed out, like, sometimes that guy in the back seat is saying, pull over, we don't need to be driving this fast. Come on, we don't need to be drinking and driving. Sometimes that guy gets drowned out. I'm like, I want to tell the kids, sometimes listen to the quiet one in your group, because that's the wisdom in your group. Right? The loudest one is not the right one all the time. Right? Because all the loud ones are continuing to lose.
That's good.
Right? They continue to lose. Anything that you take from that, because you've seen it many times too. Anything that you...
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is it's amazing how you can see the pride in them kick in. But the thing that they don't realize, some of them are in there because of their pride.
Whoa. Yeah.
Like, you know, that now if it's balanced, if it's used right, that's something that can propel you to higher heights. But think about those moments where they didn't display humility or they didn't ask for help, which that's one of the events I want to talk about later.
There's one
to talk about, but not one time. How many young men was in there?
It was 28 this time, I think. Maybe, yeah, 28.
Not one of them asked for help. And in fact, I think they would have kept going. Right. Yeah. So the lesson in it was like, your pride can put you in a situation, because they was busting out a lot of push-ups. Yeah. Not only was listen, the pride was so real, they started upping the numbers of push-ups. From 15 to 25, I think, and we heard 50, you know.
I remember one kid said, I said, all right, this time, If you lose, it's going to be 50 push-ups for everybody. And one guy said, no, we don't have to bet push-ups. I said, you do not have to bet push-ups. He said, then why we bet push-ups? He said, no, we're betting 50. I said, you down with that? He said, this is what he said, it's whatever.
See?
Yeah.
Whoa, man, whoa. It's whatever is whatever got you here.
Exactly.
It's whatever. Like he just said, we're going to do 25 years if we lose. And you just said, it's whatever. You're going to have to do it, young man. I'm not letting you not do these 50 push-ups when you lose.
Bust out these 50 push-ups.
And the odds is not looking good.
You've already lost 15 times.
You've already lost 15 times.
15 times. You know.
And you are saying whatever to 50 push. Make that 50 years.
Wow.
Make that 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what, if I can just piggyback on that, I think what stood out to me to the game is that the kids didn't even realize that they had already lost before the game had started.
That's true.
We already knew the keys to the success. and no matter how many push-ups they did, they just kept trying. They was convinced, okay, I got this wrong, let me try it again. But what stood out to me, because again, I learned something in as well. How many times we think that we got the answer to life?
Right.
And we just keep hitting our head over and over, and we keep saying to ourselves, man, if I just do this, or man, if I just get this, man, if I do this. But what we don't realize is that the wisdom and the strategy has already been placed in front of us. It's when our mothers was talking to us. It's when the mentors was talking to us. It's when our teachers was talking to us. And here we are trying to recreate the wheel and keep trying to think that we can do this thing on our own. So I think that's just what stood out to me.
It certainly sets them up, because right after we're saying, basically that game just says shut up and listen the whole day.
Yeah.
Because just when you think you got it, you don't have it.
Yeah.
You don't have it. And what we're going to be giving you, just like we taught you how to win in this game, everything we do today is going to be teaching you how to win in life.
Right.
Everything. And so then we go into what is a man. There's a definition that we use for that. Can you read the scripture that we use? This is the definition, because there's no real bona fide definition for a man. And so we just take this, just kind of a basic, not trying to be religious with them or anything. We're just saying, how about let's just take this as a definition.
Amen. From 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse number 11, and I'll read this from the King James Version. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
Right.
1
right.
Corinthians chapter 13, verse number 11.
So we just use that as the kind of the rule book, and then we go around the room. It's kind of discussion style, and have them describe what childish things look like.
Wow.
Right? Childish ways. They talk loud. They love to cuss.
Yeah.
Kids love to get away with these crazy words.
Right. Yeah.
Right? They love to be disruptive. Right? They do certain things, but the most thing is they cannot and will not control their tongue. Right? And so we just kind of let them define what a child. We let them define what a child, and then we overlay boyish ways over childish behavior.
Yep.
And then they go, all right, as the day goes along, we want to see you become a man. So all of your childish thoughts, all of that grabbing and all that hitting and all that loud and all that cussing and all that N-word and all that kind of stuff, it's okay if you do it, but we know that's the child, you're not a man, right? And if you're willing to, at this point, they don't have a shirt.
Yeah.
At this point, they don't have a shirt, right? At this point, they came as they are.
Yeah.
But we said, if you're willing to step up into the challenge, to the man up challenge, and to put away childish thing, at least for the 12 hours that we're here, you can put on the shirt.
Right.
But you got to be committed to putting away the childish things, the childish ways, the talk. You got to do your best to control your tongue. And this become a real challenge when we let them, when we have the microphone and they get to do some rap.
Whoa.
Yeah, when they start freestyling.
So we give them a really good lunch, and Poetry and Chill was there. Gregory was there. They did a marvelous job.
Did an amazing job.
He did an amazing job of getting them to open up and share. And then you watch them really work really, really hard. This is the first time that a man has said, I expect you to speak differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I expect. I expect you to speak differently.
Yeah.
And boy, but you can see the control that they were trying.
Right.
They were trying to please who?
Us, the men.
The men.
Yep.
Yep.
Because we placed expectations
Absolutely.
on them. And so one of the biggest problems that I see in just in general is our parents, and even mentors are guilty of this, is don't set clear expectations.
Yeah.
Very clear expectations.
Yeah.
You can choose anything you want to, just know here are the consequences. And you ask yourself, can you handle the consequence?
Right. Come on.
Right? Here's the expectation, here's the consequence, and here's the thing. You have clear choice to do whatever you want to do, but what you don't get to choose is the consequence. That's always up to someone else.
Yep.
The consequences are, you don't get to say, Judge, I don't want 25 years. You don't get to say, Judge, I don't want to go back to state. No. Your choices are over. You made your choice. Right? Now I get to make mine. That's called a consequence. Right? And you don't get in control of that. That's what parents have to understand, is so many of the kids that I deal with don't have any expectations placed on them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah? What you got? I know.
No, and honestly, no, that's good, because it's making me think about, people that's watching right now. I mean, just as a parent,
Come on, sir.
what are we doing?
Right.
Not just mentors, but as parents, what expectations are we setting with our kids?
Come on.
I mean, like, being intentional and loving them and setting expectations is real, because if you think about it, as a leader or as a mentor, how can you be frustrated if they do something that you disapprove of, but you let them know that you disapprove of it? Mm-hmm. Or you never gave them tools to build. Like, okay, you telling them, hey, we're going to build this house together, but I'm going to do me because I got tools, but I'm not going to tell you what tools you need to have. Right. I'm not going to give you what tools you need to build. But I expect you to build.
Right.
That's what you're doing when you don't set expectation. You're expecting them to build, but what, with their hands?
Right.
I can't nail a nail with my hand. I don't care how tough I am, right? And you hurt yourself doing it. So I was just thinking about that expectation is real. I think anybody that's watching, and that's for me as well, I mean, that's expectations in marriage, friendships, and, being a neighbor, anything.
And expectations don't always come across easy.
Yeah.
Right? Setting them, I'm just going to talk, me and Jay has been like a son to me since the day I met him. And there's been times I'm texting him and calling him, and he can probably tell in the tone that I'm about ready to reset some expectations.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not like he knows I'm not whooping him.
No, yeah.
He knows that I'm not taking anything from him, like any and stuff, but we established the kind of relationship that he cares what I think. And that I know he cares what I think. I got to tell him what I think.
Yeah.
I'm not doing him any good if I don't say, hey man, I do not like it and I expect this. What are you trying to accomplish by doing this? What's the goal?
Yep.
What are you trying to do? How many times have we had, what are you doing from here?
Oh man, it's been several.
What are you doing from here? And it's not, it's not fussing, cussing or anything. It might feel to him, I can't tell what it feels like to him, but I'll be heated. Sometimes, just
you can feel the passion.
I'm really heated. Is that, tell me, these young men, I was struck by the life experiences they had, right? I would think that the people watching this would be shocked on what these young people experience. Do you have any?
Yeah. So I was blessed to mentor this one kid, and at first when he walked in there, about 6'5", 6'6", he was a big dude, man, shaped like a grown man. And just as we were talking, we were doing that where you had to do an adjective that started with your first name, right? First letter of your first name. And he just so happened he'd start with a B. And he said, I'm brave, and he said his name, because I've been in many shootouts, and I was brave. And I was blown away because here's this kid who has now formed his identity about being brave in a really dangerous situation. And I'm thinking, and so that was one of the things that was crazy to me, because I've never experienced any of that. So to hear a young kid, younger than me, talking as if it was normal, just blew me away. And that was just one of the stories that I heard. Have y'all heard of it? Did y'all remember?
Yeah, these kids are from 15 to 18 years old, and they're in for various crimes. Some that if they were adults, they would be in adult prison, if they were that kind of stuff.
With a lot of real time.
With real time.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to share about the expectation, that sometimes as parents we don't make those expectations really clear,
To make it clear.
or we'll make them low. And what I mean by that, I've worked in the school systems, I've helped out the children and parents and things like that, you know, and baby boy can really do a work. He really can, all right? But you won't lift the expectation for baby boy to go ahead and make A, you'll settle for a D. And so then baby boy learns then that the expectation, I don't have to meet it if it's too tough. But it's there in that toughness where we gain the strength to meet new expectations. And life presents itself with new expectations almost every day.
Let me tell you, just to kind of go along with that. And I'm just speaking from my experience. I don't know, it's crazy. I've been around young people a lot, but when you set an expectation, a lot of parents set really high expectations, but here's what they do to mess it up. Is to set a high expectation mean I have to set boundaries, which requires me to meet the same expectation. Just a small example. Small example is, all right, that D, you ain't gonna be able to watch no TV for a week. But by turning off the TV for a week means I don't get to watch TV for a week because it's the only TV, right? I don't want that expectation. Why am I punishing myself? Right. But take it even higher. Anytime the expectation requires work on me, then maybe I really don't want that expectation. I just want to see them do it. I don't want to work to see it happen.
Oh man, you know that's crazy, because my little brother literally, after we had lost our mom and everything, but he legit, and when he said it, we was in the, I'll never forget this moment, man. But when he said it, it struck, my eyes just opened. They was already open, but I just seen things so much from a different perspective. But he said, man, she just want to see me do good. She don't actually want to help me. And and I could tell he meant it. He felt it. And so, just him saying it, I'm like, oh man, you really feel like that? And so it go back to the expectation of how you supposed to build a house. You don't have the tools. Let's go ahead and equip this young man real quick.
You cannot set the expectation and not be there to see it come through. We were in a mentoring conversation. I guess I call it a mentoring conversation. We were just hanging out, but it was me, Jay, and two other adult mentees of mine, and they were all in different parts of life doing their thing. And one is involved in his own business selling T-shirts. And I asked him specific. I said, "What's the numbers?" He said, "Well, I don't know." I said, No. What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know the numbers? He says, "Well, I just sell these and I do that." And I said, "Well, you're doing a whole lot of grinding. You don't know the numbers." So the next time we meet, bring me the numbers. I said, "What did I just do?" I set an expectation. Set an expectation. We're not going to talk next. That's where we start. Our conversation is on the numbers. How many T-shirts did you print and sell? How much was the shirts that you printed them for? And how much did you sell them for? That equals how much money. Don't come here without knowing that anymore. That's an expectation. I don't even want to talk to you without that. Right? But I got to be able to meet him there. Right? I got to follow up. That requires work on me. That means clearing my schedule, placing him in it. Right? Putting the time, date, and place to it. It requires work on myself. I can't say start counting and then never check. Right?
Well, that's good. And I'm really thinking about this expectation and why it's important for Man Up and other programs that go into prisons. Because as a believer, a lot of times we look at other people and we judge them from afar. And we say, well, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? Because your expectation is well, don't get in trouble. You won't go to jail. But you don't know that this person was beat by the only person that loved them in their family. Or you don't know that this person was just trying to feed their 5 siblings. That's why they were stealing from Family Dollar. You know, because like the expectation, like it's crazy how we have expectations from afar, but you won't go to them. And that's my whole thing is like, as a believer, like Matthew 28 tells us to go. And it's like, okay, here's an illustration. If I ask Cubit to go get me some fish, it's only several different type of fish he can go purchase from the store. He can bring me tilapia, salmon, catfish, right? That's the type of people that's walking through the doors coming to us because they're like-minded or they're already curious about what it is we carry. But what about, I don't know about y'all, but like my favorite fish to eat is bass and crappie. You can't go purchase that. You got to go put in work and go to a pond or a lake to get
Got to get that.
right? So when he said, I'll make you fishermen of men, follow me, I'll make you fishermen of men, what, you only going to go get the fish that's convenient?
Oh, bro.
What about the fish that you got to work for?
Whoa.
And so that's the thing is like when programs like Man Up, that's fishing. You know, because, and here's the thing, and then when you catch the fish, just take it to the next level. When you catch the fish, you got to be a good steward of what you have. Because one thing I know as a fisherman is that I'm always looking for the next big fish. So I might have a boat full of fish that I'm ignoring, that kid on my street that I should be mentoring, that kid in my church, that kid at my job or whoever that I should be mentoring or helping. But they already caught. They already next to me. So I'm like, I just ain't gonna cast at my line one more time and catch another fish, but the fish in my boat is dying right up under my nose.
This is how on time God is. All right, this is how on time God is. And so then all this week, all this month, this year, and everything like that, you know. And so then we traditional Baptist church, blah 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 blah. And so then what God said, throw the net on the other side of the boat. On the other side of the boat. That's why I'm here. All righty then, to go to the least of in our community, the places where our young men and young women are locked up. Go where they are. All right then, because we got a lot of folk bouncing around from church to church. All right, and we just going from church to church to church. All right then, we ain't doing nothing new, bro. All right then, and he said doing new wine goes in new wineskins. All righty then, so throw the net on the other side of the boat.
Yeah, that's good.
I heard people talk about, you know, us being the salt of the earth, but salt, you know, back in the day was used to do what? Preserve. They didn't have a refrigerator. So when you caught a fish, the way you saw a man was sorry in the hood is that if his family had spoiled fish, you know that the man didn't pack it. He didn't preserve it.
Yep.
All he did was catch. The catch was fun, but the packing, preserving, storing up, and feeding back to your family, that's a little bit more difficult. That requires a little bit more work. Right?
Steps.
And so when you talk about the ones right next to you, you got them, preserve them, pack them.
Yeah.
Right? Make sure they got the good stuff
Exactly.
in them. And so and we're there at Man Up doing that work. Is there anything else about Man Up? I really want people to know that there's no such thing as throwaway people. There's no such thing as throwaway people. And when these kids end up there, Keith Jossell said it in the interview last week when we talked about Julius Jones, and he was Julius Jones' teacher at church, like Sunday school or something. Julius Jones gets in trouble, and he said the reason he is working so hard right now on the Julius Jones issue is because it's redemption for him. Because when Julius Jones got in trouble, he just believed he did it. He believed he did it, and he went on to the other kids.
Gotcha.
He went on to the other kids, only to be awakened by Viola Davis doing the documentary on the case. And he said she asked the New York Innocence Project to pick 2 cases out of the country that she ought to do a documentary on. And Julius was one of them, and that got his attention. I know that kid. And then to see what he believed, all these flaws, he threw that kid away. And I'm here to say, right? Not trying to pass any judgment on Julius Jones or that case. That's not about that. But I don't care what he did. There's no such thing as throwaway people. And so when we go in, I think where you see the kids get really connected to what we were saying and what we were doing is because in about 5 minutes after we've been there, they realized that there's hope. There's that these men came here because they don't think we're the problem. In fact, we had a different message. In fact, we said, you had a little problem. You had a problem. You were the problem. But did you realize that you were created to be a solution to somebody else's problem? Right? If you don't get this right, you don't solve the problem that's running around out there waiting on you. And describe that look in their face, man. Somebody, y'all saw it. It was crazy. That look.
I mean, when you make, like, I don't know how many times those kids have actually had like real eye contact from somebody that like loved them. You know what I mean? And so like what I said earlier, that whenever you call me, it don't matter if you're cussing or not. Like I can hear the passion, they can see the passion, and just to look in your eyes when you're connecting with them and you tell them you're not a problem. Their whole life, they've always been a problem.
Tears well up in there.
Yeah, I'm always a problem. So when you said, and I vividly remember this, like you standing above a young man and telling him, like, no, you're the solution to somebody else's problem. And then you could kind of see him, like, it didn't register with him at first, but you could see it kind of like settling in on his mental, you know, like, oh, yeah, maybe he's right.
I said, where are you from? He said, I'm from Tulsa. I said, hey, bro, I got a kid and a grandkid in Tulsa. Mm-hmm. I have a kid and a grandkid in Tulsa. Are you going back to Tulsa? He said, yeah, when I get out. I said, you might be the solution to my family's problem. And his the light bulb went off. And then I said, bro, I need you. I need you. And then going around the room, and it was they were almost on the edge of the seat, like, please tell me you need me. Yeah. You know? It was like, please tell me, you know.
But if you think about it, Lieutenant Cubit, y'all think about it, brothers. As we was growing up, and we was trying to grow into this manhood, we had so many false expectations that we was trying to live up to, and we had so many people telling us, you not a man, you not this, you not that. So for a man, a real man, to look you in your eye and say, no, you not the problem, you the solution, it does something to him. Think about it. Just how many times when someone you love come to you and say, hey, I need you. The fact that it just makes you feel good on the inside, like they thought so highly of me that they actually need me. It makes me feel like, man, like I thought I was a man, but now that you need me, now I feel like I'm Superman. So when you told them they was the solution, it kind of just, a light bulb went off like, whoa. In spite of all that I've done, despite where I'm at, someone looking at me, and you can tell from the passion that he really believed that I'm the solution. And that regardless of where I am, I'm the solution to whatever problem I was going on. I thought that's what was telling. And then you start seeing him, and the guys who took the message, then all of a sudden you start seeing them getting on to other people. Like, hey, man, you know you ain't supposed to be doing that. Hey, man, you ain't start doing it. You just sought to change the fact that another real man of who we trying to become tell me that I believe in you and you the solution. To me, that just spoke right.
That's that confidence.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and think about it, they were told that when they had nothing to offer.
Yes. Come on.
They were told,
come on, Doc.
they were told that when they had nothing to offer and was in a bad situation, that you are the solution.
Come on.
It's all, here's the thing, it's right there with wanting to hear another man, mainly your father, but a male figure in your life, a strong male figure, to say, I'm proud of you.
Come on,
It lines up with the same thing. I mean, you know, like how many of us, if your dad was in your life or not, how many of us lack our father telling us, I'm proud of you?
Man, yeah.
So when you say, they're looking at like, I can't even give you a piece of candy. I can't give you no money. I ain't got no food. I ain't got no car. I ain't got no resources.
I don't have no shoestrings.
I don't have no shoestrings.
My hairline is
My hairline. But you're telling me I'm the solution? Hey, dude, that is the definition of hope.
Right.
That's the definition of hope.
Every man listening to this
Yeah.
needs to find a young man and tell them no matter how much they messed up,
Yep.
is that you were not, you made a mess, but you're not a mess.
Right. Right.
You spilled the milk, but you're not the spilled milk.
Right. Right.
Right? We can clean that up. Not say you, we can clean that up.
And then if you can just hang in there and endure and learn from what you become, then you become the solution. All I need to do is you just to hang in there. Learn, don't give up, don't quit, and you become the solution. Baby.
So listen, there's, and I want to bring home this point, but there is a transformation, a physical transformation that literally happens during Man Up, every Man Up. But I want to underline that for me, if I was in that group, the transformation, the mindset change would have happened at the cone game. I'm done. I got it. Right, but it clicks. You never know what's going to hit the kid. That's why we keep talking, keep repeating, keep saying it over. Don't ever get tired of telling your kids or the kids in your church, the kids in your neighborhood. Don't get tired of repeating the rule. Don't get tired of re-explaining something. But there was a physical transformation when we do the tie game. It's crazy on putting on. So we teach them how to tie a tie, but or not. We make it a game and we race and we do all that kind of stuff that guys do. But then when they learn to tie it, we don't give them dinner unless they put on a white shirt and tie the tie properly. Right? If you want dinner, make it happen. Nobody argues. What you see them do, if they don't got it right, they run to a man and say, tighten me up, please. Absolutely. And what you find out is they could care less about dinner.
Right.
They want to look good.
Right.
The way they walk, the way they stand, everything changes by putting on a white shirt and a tie.
Right.
So forget that stuff that people say they don't like wearing ties.
Right.
I don't like wearing ties. But it does change the way you carry yourself when you do wear one. And every man needs to learn how to tie a tie.
I agree.
Right?
But before we get to the ties, man, you was talking about when they life, like the eyes really open. And I think that one of the most beneficial and impactful exercises that we do at Man Up is the maze. And so what we do is we blindfold the kids. We got them thinking, they about to go in the maze. There's a way out of this maze in hindsight. Can I say it?
Don't give it away.
Okay. Don't
tell them how to get out.
Okay, excuse me. But we reiterate the rules numerous times. And so on how to get out of the maze, like we're legitimately telling you how to get out of the maze. And so you see guys trying to get out of the maze for 30, 45 minutes. They'll do it for 3 hours if we never really help them. But at the end of the exercise, there's always 1 or 2 kids that slough inside of that circle that's been spinning around for so long.
People escaped.
Yeah.
People have made it.
But whenever they take their blindfolds off and they see, oh man, that's all I had to do.
That's all you had to do.
That's all I had to do.
It's so simple.
That's all I had.
Yep.
But LT, what's helped me since Man Up, because every time I go for myself. I go to help them, but I go for myself. I ain't lying. I'm recharged every time, But man, that morning we was listening to that podcast, and that man said, I forgot what he was talking about, but this is the only thing I remember. He said, simple don't mean easy. Simple do not mean easy. And I think about it, and I'm like, man, I can do almost everything. Like, it's really that simple. It's so simple to do everything, but it ain't easy.
Ain't nobody promised you easy.
It ain't.
Nobody has promised you easy.
Yeah. So you kind of take that expectation of having things that simple and seem easy. You kind of just take that away whenever I heard that. So
Right.
Yes, sir.
The exercise he's talking about really is telling the kids that it's okay for a man to ask for help. Yeah. But asking for help is not traditionally is not a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
It actually is a sign of courage,
Yeah.
right? That's the rewriting of what manhood is all about, what Man Up is all about. When you talk about Man Up, you're talking about, it feels like you got to go one-on-one defense.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Come on.
Man on man,
Yeah.
right?
Come on.
But man up might mean, hey, let's lock him down.
Yeah.
It's going to take, let's triple team him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the goal is to stop the ball,
Right. Yeah.
not to stop him,
Yeah.
right? We're trying to keep him from going in the bucket. So it's simple, not easy. And sometimes it just means asking for help,
Yep.
right? Yeah, man, that is so good. I'm so glad y'all joined with this conversation. Y'all have anything else you want to add? I do want to hear what you plan to take from this conversation, what you plan to do in the community with this. I know.
My first thought was, you need to be there Sunday. Okay, I'm bad. That was my first thought. All right, how can I get Cubit to Mount Triumph on Sunday morning? All right, well, if that don't happen, how can we get the whole team there? All right, then on the Friday night, Saturday. So then, all right, then. And so then what we want to happen is that we want your voice to be heard across our community. Because if we can prevent and stop before they get there, then we've done a great work. We've done a great work. All right, then.
Right. I don't want to close down state facilities. Don't get me wrong. I think people need to take a break. There's a learning. There's something that happens in these places. You know, there's a safety issue, right? These kids have done some crazy things. Yeah. They've also experienced some crazy traumatic things. I mean, I can't imagine what my life would be like if I had to experience what some of these kids have gone through. So I thank Rachel Holt for giving us the opportunity to go out and serve them. We're going to listen. You guys got to tune in to Conversations with Cubit. We're going to be live from, what's the name of the church? Tabernacle. Tabernacle Baptist Church is Keith Jossell and the Julius Jones Coalition host a worship service on, I think it's September the 12th. September the 12th before his hearing. So we're going to broadcast live and go on there. So you guys be sure to follow, be sure to share this conversation. You learned a lot right now just from these servants right here, right? The best leaders, these are the best leaders in town, these people that have joined me. And the reason I say that is because leaders know that their job is to serve, Y'all finish washing some feet. Go wash some feet. All right, that's Conversation with Cubit. We'll see you next week.